I want to welcome in Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who is in the race of his life right now down in Texas. Already one of the most expensive Senate races, by the way, we've ever seen. Senator, great to see you. Glad you could be with me. I just want to ask you, you served with Kamala in the Senate. You know her. Did Joe and Kamala ever really like each other? Does any of this surprise you?
It doesn't. There's been bad blood between them from the beginning, but there's a big difference. Look, Joe is senile now. He's a puppet. He's not aware of what's going on. Kamala is a true believer. She is a zealot. I served with Kamala every day she was in the Senate from the day she got elected, and she has always been hard left 100% of the time. Her voting record is to the left of Bernie Sanders and to the left of Elizabeth Warren. Now, I serve with Bernie and Elizabeth. There ain't much room to their left, and yet she managed to get there. She is a hardcore ideologue, so everything you don't like about the Biden administration, if Kamala is president, God forbid, it gets worse because she is a true believer. And I will say, as you were doing your opening monologue and you were talking about the fun that Trump is having, McDonald's and the garbage truck, and you're right, he's having fun. And I couldn't help but think, what the campaign is showing is joy. They're having joy, which was Kamala's initial, what she tried to brand. Right. Now Kamala is just angry. Now they're hateful. Now their strategy is Trump is a Nazi, and anyone who supports Trump is a floating pile of garbage. And it's the same anger, it's the same condescension we saw when Hillary called all of us deplorables. And before that, it's the same condescension we saw when Barack Obama said that we were bitter and angry and clinging to our God and our guns. The radical left elite looks down on America. They think we're a bunch of uneducated, ignorant rubes. And every once in a while, the mask slips off and they tell us what they actually think. Yeah, they're doing that a lot now, Senator. I want to go to Texas. So you're running against Democrat Congressman Colin Allred. The polling has been close. 538, though, now has you up by just about 4 points. So that's a good number, just outside the margin. Why was this race closer than it probably should be right now? Well, listen, we are still in the middle of an epic battle. Chuck Schumer has been explicit that I'm his #1 target in the country. And they are flooding the state of Texas with cash. This is right now the single most expensive Senate race in the entire country. Chuck Schumer and George Soros are spending more than $100 million trying to beat me. Listen, it's not complicated. If you're a hardcore partisan Democrat, after Donald Trump, there is nobody in the country you want to beat more than me. So they are flooding the state with cash. There are attack ads. Every other ad on TV is an attack ad. And so I want to ask your viewers, please go to tedcruz.org right now. Go to tedcruz.org and give $10 or $25 or $50, whatever you can, because we are getting flooded. And I'll tell you, in the last month, we have had a dozen polls that show this as a 1-point or a 2-point or a 3-point race. We're getting massively outspent. So I need your help at tedcruz.org, because that's the only way we fight back is through your generosity at tedcruz.org. So I want to ask you why it's okay for Colin Allred, he's your opponent, to lie to the people of Texas. Yep. So for years, and look, Senator, we've got the receipts. He called the border wall racist, but now he says that he never said that. Take a look.
Do you still believe that the border wall is racist? And would you support legislation that provides funding to construct more of it?
Well, they were talking, that's a comment taken out of context, really.
Well, hold on. Here's the context.
And I want to really briefly talk about this racist wall, because the symbol of this country cannot be a fence with a barbed wire on top of it. It has to remain the Statue of Liberty. And I'll tell you what, if they build that wall, my generation will be the one that tears it down.
Senator, I'm wondering what you make of this new strategy from Democrats where they can just blatantly lie to voters. But also, that's a local reporter in the Permian Basin who was able to call truth to power there. It wasn't the national news doing it. Well, listen, the strategy of Colin Allred and the strategy of Kamala Harris is the same, and it is fundamentally dishonest. They are both hardcore leftists. They are both open border radicals. Colin Allred is Kamala Harris. Colin Allred voted with Nancy Pelosi his first 4 years in Congress 100% of the time. Colin Allred voted with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden their first 2 years 100% of the time. He's supported open borders over and over again, and he's running the very same strategy Kamala Harris is. Both of them are hiding in Joe Biden's basement. I don't know what's in that basement, but they're down there. and they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to lie to the American people. He's running ads right now showing him smiling in front of that thing he calls that racist border wall. He wants to convince people now he supports the wall. Kamala Harris is running ads with aerial footage of Trump's border wall, and it's fundamentally dishonest and deceptive. But I'll tell you the challenge, Rob, is so much of the corporate media is corrupt that they just push the propaganda of the left, which means if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, the only way you can communicate is using paid advertisements on television or radio or social or digital or phones, and that takes money. And I'll tell you, it's exacerbated by the fact that Mitch McConnell has the largest Republican super PAC in the country, $400 million, and he is spending zero in Texas. The swamp does not want conservatives to win, which means my only
Mitch McConnell's not spending money in Texas? Why not?
Not a penny. Because he uses that super PAC to reward senators who obey him and to punish senators who stand up to him. In 2018, when Chuck Schumer outspent me 3-1, Mitch spent zero in Texas. I won by less than 3 points.
Beto O'Rourke race 2018,
Yeah.
And you won that one. Beto is always a bridesmaid, it seems like. Senator, and by the way, I'd love for you to come back between now and Tuesday if you want to. Open invitation. You know, I know
Great.
a lot's going on over the next 5 days. I don't want to ask you about your race. I don't want you to jinx anything. What do you make of the race at the top of the ticket? How do you think it shakes out between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris?
Look, I'm hopeful. If I were putting odds, I put it about 60-40 that Trump wins. But underscore that there's a 40% chance Kamala comes out of this. You look at the swing states, they're all within a point or two. It is really close. That means turnout matters. It means make sure you come out and vote and bring your friends and family. If you live in Texas, I want to ask you, we've got early voting. Early voting is still going on tomorrow. If you haven't voted yet, come out tomorrow and vote early. If you don't vote tomorrow, then vote on Election Day next Tuesday. But don't just come yourself. Bring your family, bring your friends, pick up the phone, bring others. And I would say again, go to tedcruz.org because the swamp doesn't want me to win. And my only defense against Chuck Schumer and George Soros and $100 million is patriots across Texas and across the country going to tedcruz.org and giving to let us communicate and win. And do that whether you live in Texas or whether you live in every other state. Make sure you show up, particularly in the swing states. Bring everyone out you can.